Maya Torres spent 3 years searching for her twin sister's killer. She documented death for a living, photographed the traces of violence that haunted every crime scene, and slowly drowned in grief that no therapy could heal. Then one night, in an abandoned warehouse, her camera captured something impossible. Wings. Massive, burning wings split between silver light and absolute darkness, belonging to a man whose eyes held both heaven and hell. He should have killed her instantly. That's the law. Witnesses don't survive. But when he looked at her face, recognition shattered him. Because he'd seen that face before, bleeding out in an alley, whispering forgiveness with her final breath. Now Maya is bound to the creature who murdered her sister. Not by choice, not by fate, by something far more terrifying. A supernatural bond that's rewriting her humanity, cell by cell, heartbeat by heartbeat. She can feel his emotions, taste his guilt, sense the war raging inside him as angel and demon tear each other apart. And the worst part? She's starting to understand him, starting to see past the monster, starting to feel something that betrays everything Natalie's memory should mean. The celestial enforcers are coming. Heaven wants them dead. Hell wants them broken. And the bond between killer and victim's sister is the only thing keeping them both alive. But bonds can be weapons. Love can be damnation. And sometimes the only way to honor the dead is to choose the impossible. Forgive the unforgivable. Love the condemned. And fight for a future that shouldn't exist. Because Natalie's last words weren't just goodbye. They were a prophecy. And Maya is about to discover that her sister knew exactly what she was doing when she made a killer promise to protect the one person he'd already destroyed. The question isn't whether Maya will survive. It's whether she'll still be human when this is over. The photograph shouldn't exist. Maya's hands trembled as she stared at her. Camera's display screen, the image frozen in brutal clarity. Wings. Massive, impossible wings stretching from a man's back, half silver-white like freshly fallen snow, half black as oil slick, caught mid-unfurl in the sodium glare of the warehouse lights. She'd been documenting what the police called a gang execution. What she'd captured instead was something that made her stomach drop into a cold, bottomless pit. 3 years. 3 years since Natalie died, and Maya still saw her twin's face. Everywhere. In crowds, in dreams, in the fractured reflection of her bathroom mirror at 3 a.m. when sleep wouldn't come. But she'd never seen anything like this. Her breath came too fast. The warehouse stank of copper and ozone, a combination that made her sinuses burn. She should leave. Protocol said document and exit. Don't contaminate the scene. Don't ask questions. Just take the photos, send them to the department, collect the paycheck that barely covered rent on her shoebox. Apartment. But her feet wouldn't move. The body on the concrete was still warm. She'd checked when she arrived 20 minutes ago. Professional instinct overriding the way her pulse hammered against her ribs. Male, mid-30s maybe. Throat torn open like something with claws had reached inside and pulled. The police report would say knife wound. It always did. Maya had learned to stop correcting them after the 5th time they'd looked at her like she was insane. Because normal people didn't. See the shimmer. The residue that clung to violent deaths like oil on water. She called them traces. These ghostly after-images that her therapist insisted were visual manifestations of PTSD. Grief playing tricks. The mind protecting itself from the reality that her sister had died, and Maya hadn't been there to stop it. Except the traces were never this bright. Never this solid. And they'd never had wings before. She clicked through the sequence of shots, her photographer's eye noting details, even as her rational brain screamed at her to delete everything and run. The first 5 frames showed the body, standard angles. Then frame 6, a blur of motion in the upper left corner, barely visible. Frame 7, a figure, tall and broad-shouldered, turning toward her camera. Frame 8, the wings, spreading wide, each feather impossibly detailed and completely, horrifyingly real. Frame 9 was just darkness, like something had moved faster than the shutter speed could capture and blocked the lens entirely. You weren't supposed to see that. Maya spun, camera clutched to her chest like a shield. Her heart stopped. Actually stopped for one terrible second before slamming back into rhythm hard enough to hurt. He stood 15 feet away, and even in the dim warehouse lighting she could see his eyes. One burned amber gold, bright as a lit match. The other was storm cloud gray, cold and flat, and utterly empty. They didn't blink in unison. The gold eye watched her with something that might have been curiosity. The gray one looked at her like she was already dead. I didn't see anything. The lie tasted like metal on her tongue. Just documenting the scene. I'm contracted with the police department. I have authorization to be here. You saw. His voice was rough, like he'd been screaming for hours. Or centuries. He took a step closer, and the temperature dropped 10 degrees. Maya's breath misted in the sudden cold. The camera. Give it to me. She backed up until her spine hit the warehouse wall. The brick was solid behind her, grounding. Real. This wasn't real. Couldn't be real. She'd been working too many double shifts, hadn't slept more than 4 hours in the past week. This was exhaustion. Breakdown. The final crack in her sanity that everyone had been waiting for since Natalie's funeral. I'll delete the photos. Her voice didn't shake. Small miracle. Right now, you'll watch me do it. Then I leave. You leave. We never saw each other. You'll remember. He moved again, faster than her eyes could track. And suddenly he was right there, close enough that she could feel heat radiating from him despite the Arctic chill that surrounded them both. Up close, she could see the wrongness of him. His skin was too pale, almost translucent, with dark veins visible beneath like cracks in marble. When he breathed, the air around him shimmered. Humans always remember. Then they talk. Then I have to clean up the mess. Maya's finger found the delete button. I won't talk. I don't even know what I saw. Some kind of trick. Photoshop. Camera malfunction. His hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. Not roughly. That was somehow worse. His touch was almost gentle, fingers circling her pulse point with careful precision, and the contact sent electricity racing up her arm. She gasped. His eyes widened, both of them, gold and gray flashing in perfect synchronization for the first time. You're marked. He breathed the words like a curse. Or a prayer. His grip tightened just slightly, thumb pressing against the inside of her wrist where her heartbeat stuttered and jumped. How are you marked? Who touched you? No one touches me. Maya jerked back, but he held firm, not bruising but absolutely immovable. Let go. Let go, or I scream. Scream. The word was hollow. No one will hear. No one ever hears. He was right. She knew he was right. The warehouse district was abandoned at this hour, had been abandoned for months. That's why bodies turned up here. That's why she got called to document them. Forgotten places where forgotten people died, forgotten deaths, like Natalie. The thought hit her with physical force. Natalie, found in an alley 3 blocks from her apartment. Throat cut. No witnesses. No suspects. Case gone cold within 6 weeks. The detective had been apologetic. These things happen in the city, Miss Torres. Wrong place, wrong time. I'm sorry for your loss. But Natalie hadn't been in the wrong place. She'd been walking home from her nursing shift. Same route she'd taken for 2 years. Safe neighborhood. Well-lit streets. And something had killed her so viciously that even the hardened crime scene photographer had turned away to vomit. Maya had seen the photos later, stolen them from the evidence locker using her department credentials. She shouldn't have looked, couldn't stop herself, needed to know, needed to see. The traces on Natalie's body had been blinding. Your sister. The man's voice dragged her back to the present. He was staring at her face with an intensity that made her skin crawl. "You look like her. Exactly like her. How did I not see it immediately?" Ice flooded Maya's veins. "You didn't know my sister. Natalie Torres." He said her name softly, reverently, like it hurt him to speak it. 28 years old, nurse at St. Catherine's Hospital, loved terrible romantic comedies, and cried during commercials with puppies. Wanted to open a free clinic someday. His thumb moved in a small circle against her wrist, an unconscious gesture that felt obscene in its intimacy. She had a birthmark. Right here. He touched the base of Maya's throat with his free hand. The exact spot where Maya had her birthmark. The exact spot where Natalie had hers. Hidden beneath her collar. Identical in shape and placement, the way everything had been identical between them. Maya couldn't breathe. How? Because I'm the one who killed her. The warehouse floor tilted. Or maybe Maya did. She couldn't tell anymore. His words echoed in the cavernous space, bouncing off metal beams and concrete until they surrounded her from all directions. Killed her. Killed her. Killed her. 3 years ago. He kept talking, his voice flat now, mechanical, like he was reciting from a script he'd memorized. August 14th, 2:17 in the morning. She was walking home. I was hunting something else. A demon who'd been possessing emergency room patients, feeding on their fear. She saw me. Saw what I really am. I had orders. Witnesses can't exist. The rules are absolute. Maya's camera fell from her grip, hitting the concrete with a crack that sounded like a gunshot. She didn't feel her fingers open. Didn't feel anything except the roaring in her ears and the way his hand was still wrapped around her wrist, holding her upright when her legs forgot how to support her weight. "You're lying." But even as she said it, she knew he wasn't. Knew it with the same visceral certainty that had made her steal those crime scene photos. The same instinct that had always told her when Natalie was hurt, or scared, or in trouble. The twin sense that should have warned her that night 3 years ago, but had stayed silent. Dead silent. Because Natalie was already gone, and Maya was sleeping, dreaming about nothing, while her other half bled out alone. I wish I was. His amber eye flickered, dimming for a heartbeat. Almost human. Almost sorry. She fought. Longer than most. She was brave. She asked me... His voice cracked, the first real emotion breaking through. She asked me to tell you she loved you, that she was sorry, that you shouldn't blame yourself. Maya's vision blurred. Tears burned hot down her frozen cheeks. "I'll kill you." "I know." He released her wrist finally, stepping back. The wings materialized again, silver and black bleeding into existence like watercolor on wet paper. Magnificent. Monstrous. "That's why I can't let you leave." Maya didn't remember deciding to run. Her body made the choice before her brain caught up, muscles firing on pure survival instinct. She bolted toward the warehouse's side exit, boots slapping against concrete that suddenly felt too slick, too unsteady. Behind her, she heard the whisper of feathers cutting through air, a sound that shouldn't exist but did, intimate and terrible. She made it exactly 7 steps. His hand closed around her upper arm, and the world lurched sideways, not pulled, transported. 1 second she was running, the next. She was pressed against a support beam 20 feet from where she'd been, his body caging hers. Wings spread wide on either side like a living prison. The silver feathers glowed with soft luminescence. The black ones seemed to absorb light, creating pockets of absolute darkness that hurt to look at. "Don't." The word rumbled through his chest, close enough that she felt the vibration. Running triggers instinct. My instinct is to hunt. You don't want that. What I want... Maya choked on rage, on grief, on 3 years of unanswered questions that suddenly had the worst possible answer. What I want is my sister back. What I want is to not be pinned against a wall by her murderer. What I want is for the last 5 minutes to be a psychotic break so I can wake up in a hospital instead of this nightmare. I know. His amber eye was too close, burning with something that looked disturbingly like understanding. The gray one stayed cold. But this isn't a break. I'm real. What I am is real. And if I let you go, they'll send someone else. Someone who won't hesitate. You hesitated? The laugh that escaped her was jagged, broken glass dragging up her throat. You killed Natalie, but somehow I'm special. What's different? We're identical. Same face, same blood, same... The word stuck. Same soul. That's what their mother used to say before she'd lost herself to dementia and stopped recognizing either of them. Twin souls, split at birth. His expression shifted, something flickering. Across his features, too fast to name. Pain, maybe, or hunger. You're not the same. She was pure, untouched by our world. You? His free hand rose, fingers hovering an inch from her face, not quite touching. You've been seeing them for months. The traces, the residue we leave behind. That's not normal human perception. That's not grief playing tricks. Maya's stomach dropped. How do you know about... Because I've been watching you. He said it matter-of-factly, like surveillance was a reasonable hobby. 3 weeks now. Every crime scene. Every photograph. Trying to figure out why your name kept appearing in reports. Why sensitives were flagging your existence. Why someone with your genetics was still alive when protocol demanded otherwise. The warehouse suddenly felt smaller, airless. You've been stalking me. Monitoring you. He pulled back slightly, giving her an extra inch of space that did nothing to ease the claustrophobia. There's a difference. Stalking implies personal interest. This was reconnaissance. Due diligence before executing an assignment. Assignment. Maya tested the word. It tasted like poison. That's what I am? That's what Natalie was? That's what all witnesses are. His wings folded inward, the movement precise and controlled. They didn't disappear, just tucked against his back, silver and black layering over each other in a pattern that should have been beautiful, and instead made her want to scream. The covenant is absolute. Humans, who see our true nature, must be eliminated. No exceptions, no mercy. It's not personal. Not personal. Maya's voice climbed an octave. You murdered my sister, and it's not personal? I executed a security risk. The correction was automatic, rehearsed, but his jaw clenched as he said it. That's the terminology. That's what we're trained to say. Execution, not murder. Necessary, not evil. Maintaining the veil between worlds, not slaughtering innocents who stumbled into the wrong place at the wrong time. But you don't believe that. She saw it in the tension cording his neck, the way his fingers trembled infinitesimally against her arm. You don't believe any of it. His laugh was bitter, caustic enough to strip paint. What I believe is irrelevant. I'm Nephilim. Half angel, half demon, fully neither. We don't get beliefs, we get orders, from both sides. And when those orders align... His amber eye flared brighter, almost blinding. We obey or we die. There is no third option. Maya filed that information away, journalist instincts kicking in despite the situation. Or maybe because of it. If she was going to die here, she wanted to understand why. Wanted to know what her sister's last moments had been like. The thing you were hunting that night. The demon. Did you catch it? His silence was answer enough. It got away because you stopped to kill Natalie. The pieces assembled themselves with sickening clarity. You chose to eliminate the witness instead of completing your actual mission. Why? Because the rules. No. Maya shook her head, the movement restricted by how close he still stood. You said witnesses can't exist. But that demon saw you too. It witnessed what you are. Why didn't you have to kill it? His expression shuddered. Different jurisdiction. Demons fall under infernal law. Humans under celestial. I answer to heaven for human exposures. And Natalie would have talked. Maya forced herself to think past the grief, to analyze like she was documenting a scene instead of living through her worst nightmare. She would have told people, tried to help. That's who she was. She saw something wrong and she fixed it. Yes, the single syllable carried weight. Regret, maybe. She was going to report me to the hospital psychiatric department. Thought I was a patient who'd escaped a facility. Wanted to help me get treatment. Of course she did. Maya's eyes burned. Natalie had always been the helper, the healer, the one who saw broken things and tried to make them whole. While Maya documented death, Natalie had fought against it. And that kindness, that fundamental goodness, had gotten her killed. I see them now. The admission scraped out of her. The traces. Started about 6 months after she died. Faint at first, just smudges. But they've been getting stronger, brighter. I thought I was losing my mind like Mom did. Hereditary schizophrenia, early onset psychosis. I've been in therapy for a year trying to make them stop. His grip on her arm loosened fractionally. They won't stop. You're awakening. It happens sometimes with twins. When one dies violently in proximity to the supernatural, the surviving twin can inherit their sensitivity. Amplified. The veil between you was already thin. Her death shattered it completely. Maya's breath caught. So, this is because of you. Because you killed her near whatever the hell you are. I'm turning into something that sees monsters. Yes. No hesitation. No sugarcoating. Which means you're on every watch list in the supernatural community. Sensitives are dangerous. They expose us. They break the covenant. They have to be eliminated before they become a larger problem. I'm already a larger problem. She met his dual-colored gaze head-on, refusing to look away even though her knees were shaking. I've been photographing your kind for months, building a database. I have hundreds of images stored on encrypted servers, crime scenes that don't match human violence, wounds that shouldn't exist, traces that can't be explained. His hand dropped from her arm entirely. He stepped back, wings spreading instinctively like a threat display. Where? Safe. She pushed off the support beam, forcing her spine straight even though everything in her screamed to curl into a defensive ball. Password protected, with instructions to release everything to major media outlets if I don't check in every 72 hours. You kill me, the world finds out what you are. It was a bluff. She had the photos, yes, backed up obsessively because losing data meant losing billable work. But there was no dead man's switch. No insurance policy. Just her, alone, with a killer who could move faster than thought and had wings that defied physics. He stared at her for a long moment. Then, incredibly, impossibly, he smiled. It was terrible. The expression pulled wrong on his face, like muscles remembering something they hadn't done in years. You're lying. Your heartbeat spiked. Pupils dilated. Breathing pattern changed. I can hear every biological tell your body produces. Then you know I'm terrified. Maya didn't bother denying it. But you also know I'm serious about the photos. Maybe I don't have an automatic release, but I do have them. And if you're watching me, you know I've been sending copies to colleagues, other photographers, asking their opinion on unusual elements. The data is out there. Killing me doesn't contain it anymore. His smile faded. The amber. Eye dimmed until it almost matched the gray one, both flat and assessing. When he spoke again, his voice had changed. Softer, more human, more dangerous in its intimacy. What do you want? The question caught her off guard. What? You're negotiating, establishing leverage. That means you want something beyond survival. He tilted his head, and in that gesture she saw something predatory, something utterly inhuman wearing a man's face. So tell me, what do you want, Maya Torres? What's worth? More than revenge for your sister's murder? The answer came from somewhere deep and honest and suicidal. I want to know why. Not the covenant, not the rules. Why you? Why did you choose to kill her instead of letting her go? Why did you deliver her last words to yourself if you're just following orders? Why are you telling me any of this when you could have snapped my neck the second I saw your wings? His wings trembled. The silver feathers ruffled, agitated, while the black ones stayed. Perfectly still. The dichotomy was mesmerizing and horrible. Because she asked me to watch over you. Maya's world tilted again. What? Her last words. They weren't just, I love you. She made me promise. His voice cracked, the fissure revealing something raw beneath. She said, my sister sees things too. She'll figure it out eventually. When she does, don't let them send someone cruel. If it has to happen, let it be you. At least you hesitated. The warehouse was silent except for Maya's ragged breathing and the distant drip of water from a broken pipe. She knew. She knew you were going to kill me someday. Sensitives always know. He turned away, wings dragging across the concrete with a sound like silk on stone. It's the gift and the curse. You see what's coming. You can't stop it. You can only choose how you meet it. Maya's legs finally gave out. She slid down the support beam until she was sitting on the filthy floor, camera forgotten somewhere in the darkness. Everything she thought she knew about reality crumbling around her. So what now? You're here. I'm here. She asked you to be the one. Are you going to grant her that last request? He didn't answer immediately. When he did, he still wasn't looking at her. I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know. Maya woke up in a place that wasn't the warehouse. Her consciousness surfaced slowly, fighting through layers of fog that felt artificial, chemical. Not sleep. Something forced. Her mouth tasted like copper and ash, and when she tried to move, her body responded with a lag that made her stomach lurch. Drugged. She'd been drugged. The panic came first, sharp and immediate. Then awareness. She was lying on something soft. A couch. Leather. Expensive by the feel of it. The air smelled different here. Clean. Almost sterile. With an underlying scent of something she couldn't name. Ozone, maybe. Or burnt sugar. She forced her eyes open. The apartment was minimalist to the point of being hostile. White walls, gray furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows that showed a city skyline she recognized as downtown, at least 30 stories up. No personal items, no photographs, no books or magazines or any indication that a living person occupied this space. It looked like a staged showroom, beautiful and completely hollow. You're awake. His voice came from her left. Maya's head turned too fast, vision swimming, and there he was, sitting in a chair by the window, backlit by afternoon sun, that made his wings nearly translucent. They were still out, still visible. She hadn't imagined any of it. You kidnapped me. Her voice came out hoarse. How long had she been unconscious? Hours? Days? The light suggested late afternoon, but that could mean anything. I relocated you. He stood, moving with that unnatural grace that made her hindbrain scream predator. The warehouse wasn't secure. Too many variables. Too many potential witnesses. This is neutral ground. Protected. No one can find you here without my permission. Maya pushed herself upright, fighting the nausea that accompanied the movement. That's literally the definition of kidnapping. The alternative was killing you in that warehouse or leaving you there for the cleanup crew. He said it flatly, without inflection. The Covenant enforcers would have found you within the hour. They're less conversational than I am. Lucky me. She scanned the room, cataloging exits. Front door, probably locked. Windows, but they were 30+ floors up, and she wasn't suicidal. Kitchen visible through an archway, potential weapons there. Bathroom door to her right, also potential exit if it had a window. Not great odds, but better than nothing. So what's the plan? Keep me prisoner until you decide whether to honor Natalie's request or follow your precious covenant rules. Something like that. He moved to the kitchen, and she heard water running. When he returned, he held a glass in one hand. Drink. The sedative causes dehydration. You drugged me. You were hysterical. He set the glass on the coffee table between them, not coming closer. Screaming, attracting attention. I couldn't transport you conscious. The shift between spaces would have shattered your mind. Maya stared at the water like it might be poisoned. Probably wasn't. If he wanted her dead, she'd already be dead. She reached for it anyway, throat too dry to resist, and drank half the glass before her brain caught up to her. Body. The water was cold, clean. It tasted normal, which somehow made everything worse. How long was I out? 6 hours. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed, wings folded tight against his back. In this lighting, she could see details she'd missed in the warehouse. The feathers weren't uniform. The silver ones had veins of gold running through them, delicate as spider silk. The black ones had an iridescent sheen, purple and blue rippling across their surface when he moved. It's Thursday. 4:18 in the afternoon. You have a scheduled crime scene documentation at 6. I called the department. Told them you had a family emergency. They bought it. You impersonated me. Maya set the glass down harder than necessary. Called my work. Using what? My phone? He pulled her phone from his pocket. Held it up. Passcode is Natalie's birthday. You've had the same code for 3 years. You also have 47 unread messages, most from a contact labeled Mom's Facility. They want payment. You're 2 months behind. The invasiveness of it hit her like a physical blow. You went through my phone. I went through everything. No apology in his voice. Your apartment, your car, your work locker, your therapy records, your bank statements. Every piece of your life that leaves a digital footprint. I needed to understand who you are, what you know, who else might be compromised. Maya's hands curled into fists. You had no right. I had every right. He cut her off, amber eye, flaring. You're a security breach, a walking exposure risk. Your sister made me promise to protect you. But protection requires information. I needed to know if you'd told anyone, if you had confidants, if killing you would create more problems than it solved. And? She forced the word out through clenched teeth. What's the verdict? Am I worth the trouble of keeping alive? His expression shifted. Something that might have been conflict flickered across his features, there and gone too fast. To parse. You're alone, completely. No friends close enough to notice if you disappear. No family except a mother who doesn't recognize you anymore. No romantic relationships, no social circles, no emergency contacts beyond your employer. You work 70-hour weeks photographing death. You eat 1 meal a day, usually at 3 a.m. You haven't been to your apartment for longer than sleep in 6 months. You're drowning, and no one notices because you've made sure there's no one left to see. Each observation was a scalpel cut, precise and devastating. Maya felt her face heat. Your point? My point is that you're already a ghost. He pushed off the wall, taking a step closer. Natalie's death hollowed you out. You're not living. You're documenting, observing. Staying one step removed from everything real because if you let yourself feel, you'll shatter. I know because I've been watching you do it for 3 weeks. And before that, I watched you do it in the security footage. From the police department. The therapist notes. The way you frame every photograph with yourself outside it, never in it. Stop. The word came out strangled. Stop profiling me like I'm a crime scene. But that's what you are. His voice dropped, intimate and terrible. A crime scene. My crime scene. I created you the night I killed your sister. Everything you are now is because of what I did. The isolation. The obsession with death. The way you see traces. You're not Maya Torres anymore. You're the aftermath of Natalie Torres's murder. She was standing before she realized she'd moved, glass shattering on the floor where she'd knocked it. Shut up. Shut up. You don't know anything about me. I know you keep her nursing badge in your wallet. He didn't flinch at her anger. Behind your driver's license. I know you sleep in her old apartment even though you can't afford it. Even though every surface holds memories that cut. I know you wear her perfume on bad days. I know you talk. To her. Out loud. At crime scenes, when you think no one's listening. You tell her what you're seeing. Ask her opinion. Apologize for not being there. Maya's vision blurred. No. She wouldn't cry. Not in front of him. Not when he was dissecting her like she was evidence to be catalogued. Get out of my head. I'm not in your head. He was closer now, just a few feet away, and she could feel that strange temperature shift again. Heat and cold warring in the space between them. I'm telling you. What I see. What anyone would see if they looked. But no one looks, do they? You've made sure of that. Easier to be invisible. Easier to document than participate. Easier to be half alive than risk losing someone else. And whose fault is that? The words ripped out of her. 3 years of suppressed rage finding a target. Who made me this way? Who killed the only person who saw me? Who knew me? Who made me feel like I existed? You did this. You took her, and you left me with nothing. And now, you're judging me for how I survived it. His wings spread suddenly, involuntarily, silver and black filling her field of vision. I'm not judging you. I'm explaining why I can't kill you. The confession hung in the air between them. Maya's breath caught. What? 3 weeks. His voice was rough now, fraying at the edges. 3 weeks of watching you. Seeing how you move through the world. How you frame death with such precision because it's the only thing you can control. How you're so careful to never be in your own photographs, like you don't trust yourself to exist in the frame. His amber eye dimmed, darkening toward the gray. Natalie asked me to protect you. I thought that meant from other hunters. From the Covenant. From exposure. But you don't need protection from them. You need protection from yourself. From the half-life you're living. And I can't save you from that by killing you. I can't honor her request by making you disappear. Maya's legs felt unsteady. So, what? You're going to let me go? Hope I keep my mouth shut about the supernatural hitman with the wing problem? No. He shook his head. Because letting you go means the Covenant sends someone else. Someone who won't hesitate. Someone who won't see you. Just a problem to be eliminated. And I made a promise. To my dead sister. The bitterness tasted like blood. A promise you're keeping even though you're the one who made her dead. Yes. No hesitation. No deflection. Just brutal honesty. Because it's the only thing I've done in 3 years that felt like a choice instead of an order. Because when she looked at me with her throat open and her life bleeding out, she didn't beg for herself. She begged for you. And that kind of love... His voice cracked. I don't understand that kind of love. I don't have the capacity for it. But I recognize it. I know it's rare. Sacred. And I destroyed it. Something in Maya's chest twisted painfully. What are you? Damned. The word fell between them like a stone. I'm damned. Half angel, half demon, wanted by neither, acceptable to none. I execute orders because it's the only purpose I have. The only thing keeping me from fragmenting entirely. But your sister's last request? His wings trembled. That was different. That was mercy shown to a killer. Grace given to something graceless. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to honor it without disobeying every law I've ever followed. Maya stared at him. This impossible being. Who'd murdered her sister and now stood in front of her radiating honest, devastating confusion. You're asking me? You're asking the woman you widowed how to fix your moral crisis? I'm telling you why you're still alive. He met her gaze, both eyes level now, gold and gray in terrible harmony. And why you're going to stay alive, even if it costs me everything. The apartment's silence pressed in. Outside the windows, the city moved on, oblivious. People living their normal lives in a normal world where angels and demons weren't real, and twins didn't die in alleys, and nothing supernatural existed beyond ghost stories. Maya wanted that ignorance back, wanted to unknow everything she'd learned in the past 12 hours. But knowledge was a one-way door, and she'd stepped through it the moment she'd captured those wings on camera. "What's your name?" The question surprised her as much as him. "You killed my sister. You kidnapped me. You're holding me prisoner in your sterile nightmare." "Apartment. I should at least know what to call you." He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Azrael." Of course it was. Maya almost laughed. "The angel of death." "Not anymore." His wings folded inward, tucking tight against his back. "Not for a long time. Now I'm just something that follows orders and pretends purpose is the same as meaning. And now your orders conflict with your promise." Maya understood suddenly. The covenant says kill me. Natalie says protect me. You can't do both. "No." He turned toward the window, silhouette stark against the fading light. "I can't. So I'm making a third option." The third option apparently involved Maya living in Azrael's sterile apartment like some kind of supernatural witness protection program. 3 days. 3 days of waking up on his leather couch. 3 days of eating takeout he ordered without asking her preference. 3 days of watching him stand by those floor-to-ceiling windows staring at nothing while his wings flickered between. Silver and black like a malfunctioning neon sign. He barely spoke, barely moved, just stood there, a statue wrestling with something internal and violent. Maya was losing her mind. "I need to leave." She said it on the 4th morning, watching him make coffee with mechanical precision. He'd made 2 cups. He never drank his, just held it, letting the heat seep into his palms, like he was trying to remember what warmth felt like. "I have a job, bills, a mother in a facility that costs $3,000 a month. I can't just disappear." "You already disappeared." He didn't turn around. "I told your employer you're taking family leave. 2 weeks. They approved it. Your mother's facility received an anonymous donation covering 6 months of care. Your landlord thinks you're visiting relatives out of state. Every logistical concern has been addressed." The coffee mug in Maya's hand trembled. "You can't just rearrange my life." "I can and did." He finally looked at her, and the exhaustion in his face was startling. The silver feathers on his left wing looked dimmer than they had 3 days ago. The black ones on his right seemed to pulse with their own heartbeat. "Because if you go back to your routine, you'll be dead within 48 hours. The covenant doesn't wait. They're already asking questions about why the Torres file hasn't been closed." "The Torres file." Maya set her mug down before she threw it. "That's what I am. A file. A problem that needs closing." "Yes." No sugarcoating. Never any sugarcoating with him. A problem I'm refusing to close, which makes me a problem. They'll send investigators soon. Enforcers. They'll want to know why I've been in this location for 4 days instead of completing my assignment. Why I haven't reported in. Why the witness is still breathing. So kill me. The words came out flat. She was too tired for emotion. Too drained from 3 days of captivity and existential horror. Honor your covenant. Break your promise to Natalie. At least then I wouldn't have to keep drinking coffee with my sister's murderer and pretending this is somehow normal. His wings flared, a sharp, violent motion that sent papers flying off the counter. "You think I don't want to?" His voice was raw, stripped of the careful control he usually maintained. "You think this is easy? Looking at your face every day? Seeing her in every expression, every gesture? You tilt your head the same way when you're thinking. You bite your thumbnail when you're anxious. You pull your hair back with the same motion she used before surgery shifts. It's like killing her over and over every time I look at you. Maya stood abruptly, chair scraping against expensive hardwood. Then don't look at me. Better yet, let me leave. We both win. You don't have to see her ghost. I don't have to live with her killer. You leave. You die. He moved faster than thought, suddenly in her space, close enough that she could see the veins beneath his. Translucent skin pulsing with light. Gold on the left side, deep red on the right. Is that what you want? Death? Because I can smell it on you, Maya. The resignation. The way you've been sleeping more each day, eating less. You're giving up. Deciding this is all too much. That maybe it's easier to just let whatever's coming come. She shoved at his chest. It was like pushing a wall. Get out of my head. Stop analyzing me. Stop watching me like I'm some kind of specimen. I can't. His hands came up, hovering near her shoulders but not touching, like he was afraid of what would happen if he made contact. Watching is what I do. It's all I know how to do. Observe, assess, eliminate. Except I can't eliminate you. Won't. And I don't know what to do instead. Learn. The word burst out of her. Figure it out. You're supposed to be half angel, right? Divine intelligence. Use it for something other than murder and stalking. His laugh was bitter. Angels don't have intelligence. They have obedience. Perfect, absolute obedience to hierarchy and law. The demon half is what thinks, questions, rebels. And right now, his amber eye flared so bright it hurt to look at. Right now, they're tearing each other apart inside me. Angel says follow the law, eliminate the threat, maintain order. Demon says keep her, claim her, use her for something. And the human part I'm not supposed to have? That part is screaming that I already destroyed one sister and I can't do it again. Maya's breath caught. You have a human part? I shouldn't. He stepped back, hands falling. Nephilim aren't supposed to. We're hybrids. Angel father, demon mother, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. The human is just the vessel, the incubator. We're not supposed to inherit anything from them except flesh. But sometimes, he turned away, wings drooping. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we get cursed with things like conscience, regret, the ability to care about something beyond orders and survival. Is that what Natalie did? Maya heard herself ask. Gave you a conscience? Made you care? No. His voice dropped to barely above a whisper. She revealed it. Made me see it was already there, buried. I'd been executing witnesses for 70 years. Hundreds of them. And I felt nothing. Just compliance. Check the box. File the report. Move to the next assignment. But he pressed his palm against the window, and the glass frosted around his hand. She looked at me with her life draining out, and she felt sorry for me. Not afraid. Not angry. Sorry. Like I was the victim. Like killing her was hurting me more than it hurt her. Maya's throat closed. That was Natalie. Even dying, even murdered, she'd tried to save someone. And was she right? I don't know. The frost spread, creating fractal patterns across the glass. I don't know what hurting feels like. I know damage, injury, but pain, emotional pain, I thought I didn't have the wiring for it. Then I delivered her message to myself. Promised to watch over you. And every day since, there's been this. He pressed his other hand against his chest. This weight, like something's crushing me from inside, getting heavier. Is that pain? Is that what humans feel? Yes. Maya moved closer without meaning to, drawn by something she couldn't name. That's grief, guilt, all the things you're supposed to feel when you destroy something precious. I don't want it. His forehead touched the frozen glass. I want to be what I was before. Empty. Efficient. Following orders without question. This feels like dying slowly, like fragmenting. My angel half recoils from the guilt. My demon half wants to drown it in violence. And the human part just keeps repeating her last words over and over until I think I'm going insane. Maya stood beside him now, close enough to feel the cold radiating from his body. What were her actual last words? You told me the message. But what did she really say? He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, she said, I forgive you. And when you find Maya, tell her I love her. Tell her it wasn't her fault. Tell her to live, really live. Not the half-life she's been existing in. Promise me. So I promised. And then she smiled. Actually smiled. Like I'd given her something instead of taking everything. A sound escaped Maya's throat. Half sob, half laugh. Completely broken. That's so her. Forgiving her killer. Worrying about me. Making sure I'd be okay even after she was gone. I don't understand it. Azrael's voice was hollow. I've seen thousands die, violently, slowly, in terror and pain and rage. No one forgives. No one smiles. No one uses their last breath to protect someone else. It's not logical. It's not survival instinct. It's love. Maya finished. It's love. The kind that doesn't make sense, doesn't follow rules, just exists because it can't do anything else. He turned his head, looking at her for the first time in days, with something other than assessment in his eyes. Do you forgive me? The question hit her like a fist. No. Good. Something that might have been relief flickered across his features. You shouldn't. Forgiveness would be easier, cleaner. This is better, honest. I hate you. Maya said it clearly, carefully, like an oath. I hate that you killed her. I hate that you're keeping me here. I hate that you're making me see you as something other than a monster. I hate that part of me understands why you did it. Even though understanding doesn't equal acceptance. I hate all of it. I know. He held her gaze, gold and gray, steady. I can hear your heartbeat, smell the adrenaline, taste the rage in the air around you. It's honest, real, better than the resignation you've been wearing like armor. Don't mistake hatred for healing. Maya's hands clenched. I'm not forgiving you. I'm not going to suddenly decide this is all okay, because you're tormented or conflicted or developing a conscience 3 years too late. I'm not asking you to. His wings shifted, silver feathers brushing against her arm. The touch was light, barely there, but it sent electricity racing up her nerve endings. I'm asking you to stay alive long enough for me to figure out how to keep Natalie's promise without getting us both killed. And then what? Maya didn't pull away from the wing contact even though she should. Say you succeed. Say you protect me from the Covenant. What's my life look like? Prisoner in your apartment. Forever? Looking over my shoulder for angel assassins? Never able to have a normal existence because I saw something I shouldn't have? I don't know. The honesty was almost worse than a lie would have been. I don't plan beyond the immediate threat. Survival to survival. But if I can buy us time, maybe we find a way to remove you from their radar permanently. Fake your death. Change your identity. Something. Something. Maya laughed without humor. Great plan. Really detailed. It's more than I had 3 days ago. His wing pulled back, and the loss of contact felt wrong. 3 days ago, I was going to kill you in that warehouse. Honor the Covenant. File the report. Move on. But standing here, talking to you, seeing you as something other than a security risk? He shook his head. Natalie was right. You're not like the others. You're not just seeing traces. You're seeing me. Really seeing. Not the wings or the eyes or the supernatural elements. You're seeing the part I'm not supposed to have. The part that's breaking under the weight of 70 years of murders labeled as duty. Maya wanted to look away. Couldn't. I see someone who's suffering. That doesn't mean I forgive what you did. I don't want your forgiveness. His hand rose, finger pointing at his own chest. I want your survival. Because if you die, especially if I'm the one who kills you, then Natalie's last act was meaningless. Her forgiveness, wasted. Her love for you, erased. And I can't... His voice cracked. I can't make her final moments meaningless. It's the only thing I've ever been part of that felt sacred. The first time Maya felt it, she thought she was having a heart attack. Day 7. She was in the bathroom, trying to wash away another sleepless night, when pain lanced through her chest. Sharp, burning, like something was burrowing into her sternum from the inside out. She gasped, hand flying to her heart, and through the agony came something else, something foreign. Terror. Absolute, primal terror that wasn't hers. She stumbled out of the bathroom, vision swimming, and found Azrael on his knees in the living room. His wings were spread wide, trembling violently, silver feathers shedding light in rapid pulses while the black ones seemed to bleed darkness into the air around him. His head was thrown back, tendons standing out in his neck, and his mouth was open in a silent scream. What's happening? Maya dropped beside him without thinking, hands hovering over his shoulders. Azrael, look at me. His eyes snapped to hers. The amber one was completely white, glowing like molten gold. The gray one had gone black as pitch, no pupil visible. Get away. The words came out strangled. Get away from me, now. But the pain in her chest intensified when she tried to move back, like something was tethering her to him, pulling her closer even as every survival instinct screamed to run. I can't move. What did you do to me? Nothing. His hand shot out, gripping her wrist with bruising force. I didn't do anything. This is... He choked on whatever he was going to say. His wings beat once, twice, creating wind that knocked over furniture. The bond. It's starting. It shouldn't be starting. I didn't initiate it. I've been careful not to touch you, not to... Bond? Maya's free hand pressed against her chest, where the burning was spreading, radiating outward like cracks in glass. What bond? What are you talking about? Mate bond. He was shaking now, whole body racked with tremors. Between Nephilim and compatible humans, it's rare. Happens maybe once every 1,000 years. I hoped, being around you wouldn't trigger it because you're not just any human. You're hers. You're Natalie's. This can't happen. Can't. The pain shifted, changed, became something else. Not burning now. Pulsing. Like a second heartbeat establishing itself inside her ribcage, syncing with his. She could feel him. Not just the physical presence, but something deeper. The war raging inside him. Angel and demon tearing at each other, and beneath it all, that fragile human part screaming. Make it stop. Maya tried to pull her wrist free. Couldn't. His grip was iron. Whatever this is, reverse it. I don't want this. I don't want to feel you. I can't reverse it. His voice was breaking, fragmenting into 2 tones simultaneously. One high and crystalline, one deep and resonant, both speaking at once. Once it starts, it completes or it kills. That's the law. That's how it's always been. Then don't complete it. She was begging now, dignity abandoned. Let it kill us. Better than this. Better than being tied to you forever. His laugh was hysterical, unhinged. You think I want this? You think I want to be bound to the sister of the woman I murdered? To feel your hatred every second of every day for the rest of existence? This is hell. This is actual damnation. And I can't stop it because my body decided you're compatible. Perfect. Genetic match. Soul resonance. All the mystical bullshit that makes this bond unbreakable. The apartment's temperature was fluctuating wildly now. Freezing. Boiling. Freezing again. Maya's teeth chattered even as sweat dripped down her spine. How long? How long until it completes? Days. Maybe weeks. He finally released her wrist, shoving away like her touch burned him. Depends on proximity. Contact. The more we're around each other, the faster it solidifies. I need to leave. Need to put Distance between us. Slow it down. Give us time to... To what? Maya's voice was sharp. Figure out how to break an unbreakable bond? You just said it completes or kills. Those are the only options. So either we're stuck together forever, or we both die trying to fight it. There's a third way. His wings folded inward, wrapping around himself like a shield. I complete the bond, then I cut it. Sever the connection before it fully roots in your soul. And that doesn't kill us? It kills me. He said it simply, matter of fact. Nephilim don't survive broken mate bonds. We fragment, cease to exist. But you're human, mostly human. You'd survive, changed, marked. You'd be able to see the supernatural world clearly forever. No more just traces, full sight. But you'd live. Maya's mind reeled. You're talking about suicide. Magical suicide. I'm talking about keeping Natalie's promise. He looked at her with those impossible eyes. One light, one dark, both ancient and exhausted. She asked me to protect you, to make sure you lived, really lived. Can't do that if we're bound together. Can't do that if every time you look at me, you see the one who destroyed her. This way, you get freedom, protection. The bond's mark would make you untouchable to other Covenant enforcers. They'd read you as claimed, off limits, and I'd finally stop failing her. The pain in Maya's chest was changing again, deepening, becoming less physical and more emotional. She could feel his resignation, his certainty, his absolute conviction that this was the only solution. And beneath it, something else. Something he was trying desperately to hide. Relief. You want to die. She breathed the accusation. This isn't noble sacrifice. You want out. You've wanted out for decades. This is just an excuse. His wings trembled. Does it matter? The result is the same. You live. I don't. Natalie's wish is honored. It matters. Maya stood on shaking legs, the bond pulling at her with every inch of distance she tried to create. Because if you're doing this just to escape, then it's not protection. It's abandonment. You're leaving me marked, changed, trapped in a world I don't understand, with no guide, no one to explain what I'm seeing. That's not honoring Natalie's promise. That's taking the easy way out and calling it heroic. There's nothing easy about it. His voice dropped to a whisper. Severing a mate bond is agony. It takes hours, sometimes days. You feel everything. Every connection breaking. Every piece of soul tearing loose. It's designed to be unbearable, to discourage anyone from attempting it. Good. Maya moved closer, fighting the bond's pull, forcing herself to approach him instead of fleeing. Because you don't get to escape this that easily. You don't get to die and leave me with the consequences. If this bond is happening, if we're being forced together by biology or destiny or whatever mystical crap is at work, then you're going to stay alive and deal with it. You hate me. He stared at her like she'd lost her mind. You said it yourself. You hate me for what I did. How can you possibly want to be bound to me? I don't want it. Maya stopped inches from him, close enough that his cold aura made her skin prickle. I don't want any of this, but I'm not going to let you use this as suicide by supernatural bond. Natalie forgave you, made you promise to protect me. You think dying is protecting? You think leaving me alone in a world where angels and demons are real is keeping her safe? What's the alternative? His hands came up, gripping her shoulders. Not gentle, desperate. Complete the bond and spend eternity tied to someone who despises me? Feel your hatred every second through the connection? Watch you struggle against it, fighting something neither of us chose? That's not protection. That's torture. For both of us. Maybe. Maya held his gaze. Or maybe we figure out how to survive it. Together. Maybe we learn to live with this impossible situation because the alternative is worse. Maybe, her voice caught. Maybe Natalie knew. Maybe she saw this coming. Maybe that's why she asked you to watch over me specifically. Because she knew what you were. What I might become. She wasn't prescient. Azrael's grip tightened. She was dying. Delirious. She couldn't have known about mate bonds or compatibility or any of this. Couldn't she? Maya remembered her sister's intuition. The way Natalie always knew when something was wrong. When Maya was in trouble. When their mother was having a bad day. We were twins. Connected in ways neither of us understood. Maybe when she died, that connection broke. But maybe it also transferred. Changed. Became something else. His expression shifted. Horror replacing resignation. You think the bond is happening because of her? Because she died near me? Because her soul somehow marked you as compatible? I don't know. Maya was guessing, grasping, but it felt right. In a way she couldn't explain. But it makes more sense than random cosmic chance. We're not compatible. We're barely tolerant of each other. This shouldn't be happening unless something made it happen. That's worse. His hands dropped from her shoulders. If she caused this, even accidentally, then I corrupted her final act, turned her protection into a curse, bound you to the one person you should never be tied to. Or, Maya grabbed his hands before he could pull away entirely. The contact sent fire racing through the bond. Both of them gasped. Or she knew this was the only way to keep both of us alive. You can't kill me if we're bonded. The covenant can't touch me if I'm marked. And you can't give up. Can't take the easy way out. If breaking the bond would leave me vulnerable. The logic settled between them. Terrible. Inescapable. Brilliant in its cruelty. She trapped us. Azrael's voice was hollow. Used her dying breath to trap us together. Force us to survive. To deal with the consequences. She saved us. Maya corrected. Whether we wanted or not. The apartment was silent except for their breathing. His wings drooped, exhaustion written in every line of his body. I can't do this. Can't be what you need. I'm not capable of... Neither am I. Maya cut him off. I'm not capable of forgiving you, of seeing past what you did, of being anything other than angry and traumatized and barely holding together. But apparently we don't get a choice. So we survive. Day by day, moment by moment, and maybe somewhere along the way, we figure out how to make this bearable. His amber eye flickered, dimming and brightening. This is insane. Everything about this is insane. Maya felt the bond pulse in her chest. Still painful, still wrong, but less chaotic. Like it was settling into acceptance. But it's happening, and we can fight it and die, or we can... The front door exploded inward. 3 figures in silver armor stood in the smoking doorway. Their faces were covered by helmets that reflected no light. In their hands, weapons that glowed with holy radiance. Behind them, the hallway was filled with more armored forms. Nephilim Azrael. The center figure's voice was mechanical, emotionless. You are summoned before the Covenant Council to answer charges of dereliction and conspiracy. Surrender yourself immediately. Azrael's wings spread to their full span, blocking Maya from view. She's under my protection. The witness should have been eliminated. 9 days ago, the enforcer's weapon raised, pointed at where Maya stood behind Azrael. Your protection is meaningless. She dies tonight. You die tonight. Both executions authorized by celestial decree. The bond in Maya's chest flared white hot. And for the first time since this nightmare began, she felt something other than pain through the connection. Rage. Absolute, incandescent rage pouring off Azrael in waves. No. His voice dropped an octave. 2 octaves. Became something inhuman and terrifying. You don't touch her. You don't come near her. You don't even look at her. His wings began to burn. Silver flames on one side, black flames on the other. Maya had seen violence before, documented it. photographed bodies torn apart by rage and desperation and darkness. But she'd never witnessed the moment of destruction, never seen the exact instant a life ended. She saw it now. Azrael moved like liquid lightning. 1 second he was in front of her, wings blazing. The next he was among the enforcers, and the apartment became a war zone. His hands, which had touched her so carefully, so hesitantly, tore through celestial armor like tissue paper. Silver blood sprayed across white walls. Screams filled the air, high and inhuman, the sound of divine beings dying. It lasted 20 seconds, maybe 30. When silence returned, 5 armored bodies lay scattered across the floor, twitching. Not dead. Nephilim couldn't kill angels outright, but close. So close that the air reeked of ozone and burnt copper and something else. Something that smelled like church incense and rotting flowers. Azrael stood in the center of the carnage, chest heaving, wings still burning with dual flames. His hands were coated in silver up to the elbows. When he turned to look at her, his eyes were both black. Completely black. No amber. No gray. Just endless void. We need to leave. His voice was wrong. Layered. Like 3 people speaking in imperfect unison. Now. More are coming. I can hear. Them. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. Maya couldn't move. Couldn't process what she'd just witnessed. The casual brutality. The efficiency. He'd destroyed 5 trained celestial enforcers in less time than it took her to draw breath. You said you couldn't kill them. I said I can't kill angels outright. He grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the broken doorway. These aren't pure angels. They're constructs. Animated armor with borrowed grace. Disposable soldiers. Real angels don't dirty their hands. With executions, they send proxies. You're covered in blood. The observation was stupid, irrelevant. But her brain latched onto it anyway, refusing to engage with the larger horror. Silver blood. Is that celestial essence? He dragged her into the hallway. Behind them, the apartment's lights flickered and died. It burns. Feel it eating through my skin. Worth it. They threatened you. They pointed weapons at you. Unacceptable. The bond in Maya's chest was chaos. She could feel everything, pouring through the connection now. His rage, still white-hot. His fear, sharp and metallic. His absolute conviction that protecting her was worth any cost. And underneath it all, something darker. Satisfaction. He'd enjoyed destroying those enforcers. Reveled in it. You're losing control. She tried to pull back, but his grip was unbreakable. Azrael, your eyes. They're both demon. Where's the angel half? Buried. They reached the elevator. He slammed his fist into the call button hard enough to crack the panel. Can't access it right now. Too much demon. Used too much infernal power. The scales tipped. Give it time. It'll balance. Always does. And if it doesn't? The elevator doors opened. Empty, thank God. He shoved her inside, hitting the button for the parking garage. What happens if you stay like this? Then I become what they think I am. His reflection in the polished elevator doors showed something monstrous. Wings that dripped shadow. Veins that pulsed red beneath. Translucent skin. Face that was sharper, more angular, predatory. Full demon. Fallen. Everything the Covenant fears. Everything they hunt. The elevator descended. 50 floors to go. Maya watched the numbers tick down, each one feeling like a countdown to something inevitable and terrible. Is that what you want? To fall completely? To give up the angel side? Want has nothing to do with it. His free hand was flexing, opening and closing, like he was trying to remember how to be gentle. Balance is constant work. Every second, angel and demon fight for dominance. When I use one side's power extensively, the other weakens. Tonight I use demon strength, demon speed, demon rage. Angel's voice is barely a whisper now. Then use angel power. Maya grabbed his shoulder, forcing him to look at her. Balance it. Even out. You can't protect me if you're fragmenting. Angel power alerts heaven. His black eyes bored into hers. The second I tap into grace, they'll know exactly where. We are. Might as well send up a flare. Demon power is quieter. Hell doesn't care what I do as long as I'm causing chaos. Heaven demands accountability. So we're running blind. The elevator reached the garage. Doors opened to reveal a concrete cavern filled with luxury vehicles. Great plan. Really sustainable. I have a place. He pulled her toward a black motorcycle in the corner. Sleek, expensive, completely impractical for someone trying to stay invisible. Off-grid, warded. Neither. Heaven nor hell can track there. Old safe house. Haven't used it in decades. Why do I feel like there's a catch? Maya eyed the motorcycle. She'd never ridden one. Never had reason to. What kind of wards? What's the price? Blood. He threw his leg over the bike, gesturing for her to climb on behind him. Nephilim blood specifically. Mine. Built the protection 70 years ago when I still thought I might need a place to hide from both sides. Never thought I'd actually use it. Maya hesitated. Getting on that bike meant trusting him completely. Meant putting her life in his hands. The same hands that had killed Natalie. The same hands that were still dripping silver essence. How do I know you're not taking me somewhere to finish what they started? You don't. His voice was rough but honest. You don't know. Can't know. You'll have to trust the bond. Trust that what you're feeling through it is real. And right now, what are you feeling? She closed her eyes, focused on the connection burning in her chest, felt his emotions churning. Anger, fear, determination, desperation, and yes, protectiveness. Overwhelming, irrational, absolute protectiveness. Like she was something precious that had to be guarded at all costs. I feel like you'd burn the world down before letting them touch me. She opened her eyes. I hate that I feel that. Hate that it's true. Hate that some mystical bond is making you care when you should just eliminate the problem. Get on the bike. Maya, it wasn't a request. Argue with me later, when we're not about to be swarmed by celestial hit squads. She climbed on, wrapped her arms around his waist because there was nowhere else to hold. The contact sent electricity through the bond. Both of them gasped. His body went rigid beneath her touch. Sorry. She tried to loosen her grip. The bond doesn't like this, does it? The bond loves this. His voice was strained. That's the problem. Every touch strengthens it. Every moment of contact pulls us closer. And He gunned the engine. The roar echoed through the garage. I can't think about that right now. Can't process what's happening between us while also trying to keep us alive. The motorcycle shot forward. Maya's arms tightened instinctively, and through the bond she felt his reaction. Pleasure. Pure, undeniable pleasure at having her close. At feeling her trust his driving even though she shouldn't. At knowing she was choosing to hold on instead of letting go. And falling. They burst out of the garage onto empty streets. 3 a.m. The city was asleep, unaware that something supernatural had just destroyed 5 celestial enforcers in a luxury high-rise. Unaware that Maya Torres, photographer of death, was clinging to her sister's killer while racing toward an uncertain future. The wind was brutal at this speed. Maya pressed her face against Azrael's back, feeling the unnatural heat of him even through his shirt. His wings were retracted, now invisible to normal sight, but she could still sense them, feel them, like phantom limbs that existed in a dimension slightly offset from reality. How far? She shouted over the engine's roar. 2 hours. He took a corner too fast. Maya's stomach lurched. Maybe 3. Depends on how many checkpoints they've established. If they're smart, they've locked down major routes. We'll need to go the long way. Stay off highways. They can do that? Just shut down roads? They can do whatever they want. His voice was grim. Celestial enforcers have authority over human infrastructure when hunting threats. Traffic lights malfunction, GPS signals scramble, security cameras glitch. By morning, there will be no evidence we were ever in that building. The bodies will be gone, the apartment cleaned. It'll be like we never existed. The casual erasure of reality made Maya's skin crawl. And the people who lived there, the neighbors who heard the fighting, will remember nothing. He wove, between parked cars with centimeters to spare. Celestial grace includes minor memory manipulation. Anyone who saw or heard anything will wake up tomorrow with fuzzy recollections. Thought they heard a TV too loud, assumed it was construction. Their brains will fill in normal explanations because that's what human minds do. Protect themselves from impossible truths. But I remember. Maya's arms tightened around him. I remember everything. Why didn't it work on me? The bond. Simple. Inevitable. You're connected to me now. Partially supernatural. My proximity creates a shield. You see what I see. Remember what I remember. The veil between worlds is gone for you. Permanently. They crossed into industrial district. Empty warehouses. Abandoned factories. Maya recognized the area. She'd documented crime scenes here. Places where forgotten people died, forgotten deaths. Like Natalie. This is where you brought me before. The warehouse. Why are we back here? Shortcut. He slowed slightly, navigating around potholes that would have destroyed the bike's suspension. The safe house is beyond city limits, rural area, but there's a threshold here, an old crossing point between territories. If we use it, we cut travel time in half. Threshold? Maya's photographer brain cataloged details, crumbling brick buildings, rusted chain-link fences, streetlights that flickered and died as they passed. You mean like a portal? Magical transportation? Nothing that convenient. He pulled into an alley, killing the engine. Silence rushed in, oppressive and total. More like a thin spot, place where reality is flexible. If you know how to navigate it, you can step sideways, cross distances that should take hours and minutes. He dismounted, helped her off with unexpected gentleness. His hands lingered on her waist, steadying her. Through the bond, Maya felt his conflict, the urge to pull her closer warring with the certainty that he shouldn't, that every touch was another link in the chain binding them. I need to warn you. His black eyes reflected no light in the alley's darkness. Crossing thresholds is disorienting for humans. You'll see things, hear things, feel things that aren't real. Or maybe they are real, just not from this dimension. Your mind will try to make sense of it. Fail. Might cause permanent psychological damage if you're not prepared. More damage than discovering my sister was murdered by a half-angel, half-demon creature and now I'm supernaturally bonded to him? Maya's laugh was slightly unhinged. I think my sanity ship has sailed. Fair point. Something that might have been a smile ghosted across his features. There and gone too fast to be sure. Stay close. Don't let go of my hand no matter what you see. And whatever you do, don't respond if something calls your name. Especially if it sounds like Natalie. Ice flooded Maya's veins. Things in there can sound like her. Things in there can sound like anyone. He laced, his fingers through hers. The contact sent sparks racing up her arm. They feed on memory, emotion, love and grief and longing. They'll use Natalie's voice because they know it'll hurt you, make you vulnerable. Don't listen, don't believe. Focus on my hand, on the bond, on what's real. And how do I know you're real? But even as she asked, Maya knew the answer. The bond pulsed in her chest. Constant. Undeniable. Whatever Azrael was, whatever he'd done, the connection between them was the most real thing she'd ever felt. You don't. His grip tightened. You just have to trust. He pulled her forward. The alley's darkness deepened, became absolute, and Maya stepped into nothing. The threshold wasn't a place. It was a feeling. Maya's body existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. She could feel the alley's concrete beneath her feet and something else. Something that writhed, pulsed, breathed with a rhythm that matched no living thing. Her vision fractured into kaleidoscope pieces, each showing a different version of reality layered over the others. In one, the alley was pristine, new. The warehouse behind them glowed with warmth and life, workers streaming in and out during some long-ago shift change. In another, everything was ash, burned. The buildings collapsed into rubble, the sky overhead a sickly green that hurt to look at. In a third, there was nothing, just void, absolute emptiness that her mind kept trying to fill with shapes that made no sense. "Don't look." Azrael's voice was the only anchor, his hand in hers, blazing hot now, almost painful. Eyes on me. Only me. But Maya couldn't help it. Her photographer's instinct to observe, to document, to see was too strong. She looked, and immediately wished she hadn't. Things moved in the spaces between realities. Not creatures exactly. More like concepts given form. Hunger with teeth. Loneliness with claws. Grief wearing faces that shifted too fast to focus on. They pressed against invisible barriers, sensing fresh prey, a human, vulnerable, delicious. "Maya," Natalie's voice, clear as crystal, coming from everywhere and nowhere. "Maya, I'm here, I'm still here. Why did you let him take you? Why did you leave me behind?" "She's not real." Azrael pulled her forward, forcing movement through the threshold's resistance. "That's not her. It's never them. Just echoes. Memories given voice by things that feed on pain." But it sounded so much like Natalie. The exact inflection. The way she'd always said Maya's name with gentle reproach when her twin was spiraling. "I know it's not real." Maya's voice shook. "But hearing her, I know." His grip tightened. "I hear them too. Everyone I've executed over 70 years. They all call to me here. Beg for mercy I never gave. Promise forgiveness I don't deserve. It's torture by design. The threshold's nature. Everything you regret given voice." They walked. Or maybe they didn't walk. Maybe they stood still and reality moved around them. Maya couldn't tell anymore. Time felt wrong. Stretched thin in some moments, compressed to nothing in others. She might have been crossing for seconds or centuries. "Why didn't you kill me that first night?" The question escaped before she could stop it. "In the warehouse. You said you should have. Why didn't you?" Azrael was silent so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "Because you didn't run. Everyone runs when they see what I am. Terror, revulsion, survival instinct. But you stood there. Took photographs. Like documenting a monster was more important than escaping one. It was..." He paused. "Unexpected. I've been executing witnesses for decades. They all react the same. Scream, flee, beg, deny. You did none of those things. You just looked at me and asked questions. Like I was a puzzle to solve instead of a threat to escape. I was terrified." Maya remembered her hands shaking, her heart hammering, the cold sweat down her spine. "I just hide it better. Occupational hazard. You can't document violence if you let fear paralyze you. You weren't just hiding it." His black eyes caught light from somewhere, reflecting crimson. "You were curious. Underneath the fear, you wanted to understand. Why I was there. What I was doing. How wings were physically possible. I could smell the curiosity cutting through your terror. It was..." Another pause. "Intoxicating. No one's ever been curious about me before." The threshold shuddered. Reality rippled like water. Maya stumbled, and Azrael caught her with his free arm, pulling her against his chest. The contact blazed through the bond. She felt his heart beating. Too fast, arrhythmic, like it couldn't decide which rhythm to follow, angel or demon. Almost through. His breath was cold against her hair. "Hold on. Just a little further. Maya." Natalie's voice again. Closer now. Don't trust him. He'll kill you like he killed me. You know he will. You've always known. Shut up. Maya pressed her face into Azrael's chest, blocking out the sound. You're not her. She forgave him. She asked him to protect me. She wouldn't say those things. Unless she lied. The voice shifted. Became something else. Darker. Crueler. Unless forgiveness was survival tactic. Say what the killer wants to hear. Maybe he'll make it quick. Maybe he'll spare the sister. Except he didn't, did he? He's going to kill you too. Just taking his time. Savoring it. No. Azrael's voice was harsh. Ignore it. It's not her. It's the threshold. Feeding on doubt. On the parts of you that don't trust me. And you're right not to trust me. But the bond doesn't lie. What you feel through it is real. Everything else is manipulation. Maya focused on the connection. Felt his absolute conviction. His determination. His fear that he'd fail. That the enforcers would catch them. That she'd die because he couldn't protect her adequately. No deception there. No hidden agenda. Just raw, honest emotion that he couldn't fake through a mystical bond. I believe you. She said it quietly. Felt him go rigid with surprise. I don't forgive you. Don't like you. Don't understand why this bond is happening or what it means. But I believe you want to keep me alive. Even if it's just to honor a promise to a dead woman. It's not just that anymore. The confession was barely audible. It stopped being just about Natalie 3 days ago. Maybe sooner. I don't... He pulled her closer as the threshold buckled around them. I don't know how to separate the promise from the bond from what I actually feel. Everything's tangled. But when those enforcers pointed weapons at you, when they said you'd die, I didn't think about Natalie. I didn't think about promises. I just knew that you couldn't die. That the world couldn't exist without you in it. And that terrifies me more than heaven or hell combined. The threshold spat them out. 1 second Maya was suspended in nightmare dimension. The next she was on solid ground, grass beneath her knees. Fresh. Air in her lungs. Real air. Clean air. She gasped, drinking it in, while her vision slowly resolved into single, coherent reality instead of fractured possibilities. They were in the middle of nowhere. Forest surrounded them, dense and dark. No city lights, no road noise. Just crickets and wind and the distant call of an owl. Overhead, stars blazed with impossible clarity. The kind of sky you only saw far from civilization. Where are we? Maya pushed herself upright. Swayed. Azrael steadied her, his hands gentle on her arms. Montana, maybe Wyoming. The borders blur out here. He was looking around, wings manifesting again now that they were through the threshold. Still partially black. The angel side was fighting back, silver feathers emerging among the shadow. Safe house is 1/2 mile north. Can you walk or should I carry you? I can walk. Maya's legs disagreed, buckling immediately. Azrael caught her before she hit the ground. Carrying it is. He scooped her up with unsettling ease, cradled her against his chest like she weighed nothing. Threshold crossing is harder on humans. You'll be disoriented for hours, maybe days. Some never fully recover. Comforting. Maya's head lolled against his shoulder. Exhaustion crashed over her in waves. You could have mentioned that before dragging me through supernatural hell. Would you have preferred the 3-hour motorcycle ride with celestial checkpoints every 20 miles? His voice held dark humor, because that was the alternative. This or capture. Choose your poison. This poison makes me want to sleep for a week. Her eyes were closing despite her best efforts. Don't let me sleep. Concussion protocol. Stay awake. Keep talking. You don't have a concussion. You have dimensional dissonance. Sleep is the treatment, not the danger. But he kept talking anyway, his voice a low rumble that vibrated through his chest into her. The safe house was built during a different era, 1850s, gold rush period. This area was teeming with prospectors, violence, desperation. Perfect cover for a Nephilim trying to disappear. I killed a man here, claim jumper who'd murdered 3 families. The Covenant sent me to execute him. But when I arrived, he paused. Maya forced her eyes open. What? He had a daughter, 8 years old, hidden in the mine. He was a monster, but he loved her. Kept her fed, protected. And when I killed him, she watched, saw everything. My wings, my eyes, all of it. His arms tightened. Around Maya. I should have eliminated her too. Witness protocol. But I couldn't. She looked at me the same way you did. Curious instead of afraid. Asked me if I was an angel. If I'd come to take her daddy to heaven. What did you tell her? Maya asked. I lied. His voice was hollow. Said yes. That her father would be safe now. That she'd be taken care of. Then I wiped her memory. Planted false recollections of strangers who'd killed him. Made sure she was found by prospectors heading to town. She lived. Had a full life. Died of old age in 1932. He looked down at Maya. I checked. Every decade. Made sure the lie held. That she was happy. It was the first time I'd ever deviated from orders. The first time I chose mercy over protocol. And they didn't punish you? Maya's consciousness was fading despite the conversation. The Covenant didn't care that you let a witness live? They never knew. He stepped over a fallen log. I filed a report saying I eliminated both targets, destroyed the evidence. No one questioned it. And I built this safe house in case they ever discovered the truth. Somewhere to run. Somewhere to hide from both sides. You're not as heartless as you pretend. The words slurred. 70 years of killing, but you remember one little girl. Check on her every decade. That's not a monster. That's someone who cares. Caring doesn't absolve me. His voice was barely audible now. One act of mercy doesn't erase hundreds of executions. But sometimes, on bad nights, I think about her. Wonder if I'm capable of more. If the human part you mentioned is real, or if I'm just broken in a different way. Maya wanted to respond. Wanted to tell him that questioning made him human. That monsters didn't agonize over past choices. But sleep pulled her under. And the last thing she felt was the bond pulsing steadily in her chest, matching rhythm with his fractured heartbeat. She woke to birdsong and sunlight filtering through old windows. The room was small, rustic. Log walls chinked with ancient mortar. A fireplace that looked original to the structure. Furniture that was sparse but functional. And Azrael, standing by the window. Wings fully visible now. Silver and black in perfect balance. You're back to normal. Maya's voice was rough with sleep. The eyes. They're gold and gray again. Not all black. Took most of the night. He didn't turn around. Demon side fought hard. Wanted to stay dominant. But I forced balance. Can't protect you if I'm fragmenting. Maya sat up slowly. Her body ached like she'd been hit by a truck. How long was I out? 14 hours. He finally looked at her. It's late afternoon. Day after we left the city. You needed the rest. Threshold crossing drains humans significantly. 14 hours. Maya rubbed her face. And you just stood there? Watching me sleep? That's not creepy at all. I was monitoring the bond. His expression was unreadable. Making sure the crossing didn't damage. Incomplete bonds are fragile. Stress can shatter them. Would have killed us both. Right. Medical necessity, not surveillance. Maya stood on shaking legs, looked around the small cabin. This is it? This is the safe house that's supposed to protect us from heaven and hell? Appearances deceive. Azrael moved to the fireplace. Pressed his hand against specific stones. The wall beside it shimmered, revealing symbols carved into the wood. They glowed faintly, pulsing with power. Blood wards. Nephilim specific. As long as I renew them weekly, nothing can find us here. Not angels, not demons, not covenant enforcers. We're invisible. Weekly renewal. Maya approached the symbols cautiously. They made her skin prickle. What does that entail? Blood. He showed her his palm. Fresh cuts, barely healed, crisscrossing the skin. Mine. Fed into the wards. It's painful, draining, but necessary. Maya stared at the cuts, at the evidence of his commitment to keeping them hidden, to keeping her safe. You're hurting yourself to protect me. I'm honoring a promise. His voice was flat. Don't romanticize it. But through the bond, Maya felt the truth. Felt that it was more than duty now. That somewhere between the warehouse and the threshold, and this isolated cabin, something had shifted, changed. He wasn't just protecting Natalie's sister anymore. He was protecting Maya, because he wanted to. Because losing her would break something fundamental in him. And that realization terrified them both. 3 weeks in the cabin changed everything and nothing. Maya learned the rhythm of Azrael's existence. He slept in 2-hour increments, never deeply, always positioned between her and the door. He ate minimally, food seeming more like obligation than necessity. He renewed the blood wards every 7 days exactly, the process leaving him pale and shaking for hours afterward. And he watched her. Constantly. Not with the clinical assessment from before, but with something rawer, hungrier, like he was memorizing every detail in case she disappeared. The bond had completed 5 days ago. Maya woke that morning to fire in her chest. Not painful, transformative, like something fundamental in her cellular structure had rewritten itself. When she opened her eyes, the world looked different, sharper, colors more vivid, and she could see them. The traces weren't faint anymore. They were blazing. Every surface held residue of supernatural passage. The cabin's walls glowed. With Azrael's essence, years of his presence soaked into the wood. Outside, the forest teemed with things she'd never noticed before. Spirits, entities, creatures that existed just outside normal perception. Azrael had been standing over her when awareness returned. It's done. The bond is complete. You're marked now. Changed. There's no going back. I know. Maya touched her chest. Felt the connection thrumming. No longer painful. Just present. Constant. Like a second heartbeat that wasn't. Quite hers. I can feel you. Not just emotions. Everything. Your exhaustion. The way your demon side is restless today. How your wings ache from staying manifested too long. And I feel you. His voice was strained. Your fear. Your grief. The way you still dream about Natalie every night. How you're terrified of what you're becoming but too stubborn to give up. It's... He'd turned away. Overwhelming. I've never been connected to anyone like this. Never had someone inside my head. Inside my soul. Welcome to the nightmare. Maya had stood, testing her balance. Everything felt different. Stronger. More coordinated. How much of me is still human? Enough? He'd finally looked at her. The bond doesn't replace your humanity. It augments it. You're still you. Just more. You'll age slower now. Heal faster. See what I see. But your core, your consciousness, that's unchanged. Except it was changed. Maya knew it. Felt it. The girl who'd photographed death for a living, who'd hidden from life after losing her sister, that person was gone. Burned away by supernatural fire and rebuilt into something else. Now, 3 weeks into this new existence, Maya stood in the cabin's small kitchen, watching Azrael sharpen a blade he'd retrieved from somewhere. His movements were methodical, precise. The knife's edge caught firelight, throwing shadows across walls covered in protective symbols. We can't stay here forever. She said what they'd both been avoiding. Eventually, someone will find us, or we'll run out of supplies. Or you'll get tired of bleeding yourself weekly to maintain wards. I know. He didn't stop sharpening. The rhythmic scrape of metal on stone was almost meditative. But out there, you're a target. Here, you're safe. That's all that matters. Safe isn't living. Maya moved closer. The bond pulled taut between them, always wanting proximity. Natalie asked you to make sure I lived. Really lived. Hiding in a cabin in the woods forever isn't living. It's just slower dying. His hand stilled. What do you want me to say? That there's a solution? There isn't. The Covenant won't stop hunting. The bond mark on you broadcasts your existence to anyone who can sense it. And I'm a rogue Nephilim who slaughtered 5 enforcers. We're both condemned. Then let's be condemned together. The words surprised her. But once spoken, Maya knew they were true. Stop trying to protect me from the consequences. Stop shouldering everything alone. We're bonded. That means we face this as a unit, not you sacrificing for me out of guilt. It's not just guilt anymore. He set the knife down carefully, turned to face her fully. You know it's not. You feel what I feel. How the bond changed things. How you're not just Natalie's sister or a promise I have to keep. You're... He stopped, swallowed hard. You're you, Maya. And the thought of losing you tears me apart in ways I don't have words for. Maya's breath caught. They danced around this for weeks. The growing intensity. The way they gravitated toward each other. How his hand would find hers without thinking. How she'd wake from nightmares and find comfort in his presence instead of fear. Say it. Whatever you're afraid to say, just say it. I love you. The confession was raw, broken. I don't know how. Don't know when it stopped being about duty and became this. But I love you. And that's the cruelest joke. I murdered the person you loved most. Destroyed your life. Turned you into something you never asked to be. And now I love you so much it's killing me. Because you should hate me. You deserve to hate me. But the bond makes lying impossible, and I can feel... His voice cracked. I can feel that you don't. That somehow, impossibly, you feel something too. Maya's hands were shaking. I do hate you. Part of me will always hate you for what you took. But there's another part. She pressed her palm over her heart, over the bond mark that burned beneath her skin. Another part that sees who you are now, who you're choosing to be. The Nephilim who's defying every law to protect me, who bleeds himself weekly, who stands watch while I sleep, who looks at me like I'm something precious instead of a problem. And that part, tears burned her eyes. That part is falling in love with you. And I hate that too. Hate that my heart is betraying Natalie's memory. But I can't stop it. Azrael moved, closed the distance between them in 2 strides. His hands came up, cradling her face with devastating gentleness. Natalie would forgive you. She'd want you to live, to find happiness, even if it's with me, especially if it's with me, because she knew. Somehow she knew this would happen. That's why she made me promise. She was giving us both permission. Permission to what? Maya's voice was barely a whisper. Love each other. Build something from the ashes of her death. That's insane. That's grace. He rested his forehead against hers. The kind I don't deserve. The kind... She gave freely anyway. She saw the future. Saw that we'd destroy each other or save each other. And she chose to believe we'd save. That love could grow from impossible circumstances. That redemption was real. I can't give you redemption. Maya's hands came up, gripping his wrists. Forgiving you doesn't erase what happened. Loving you doesn't absolve the crime. I know. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I'll carry that guilt forever. Every time I look at you, I'll see her. Remember what I took. But maybe... His amber eye brightened. Maybe we honor her memory by living. By choosing each other despite everything. By proving that even the darkest acts can't destroy the human capacity for love. Maya pulled back slightly, met his dual-colored gaze. If we do this, if we choose this, there's no going back. We're admitting the bond is more than survival mechanism. We're making it real, permanent. Are you ready for that? I've been ready since you looked at me in that warehouse and asked questions instead of running. His hands slid into her hair. Since you chose to trust the bond instead of fear. Since you stood beside me in the threshold and believed I'd get us through. I've been ready for you, Maya. I just didn't know if you'd ever be ready for me. I'm terrified. The admission was freeing. Terrified of what this means, what we're becoming, how we'll survive. But I'm more terrified of losing you now, of celestial enforcers finding us, of the bond breaking, of waking, up one day and you're gone and I'm alone again. Then we fight. He pulled her closer. Together. No more you protecting me or me protecting you. We face whatever's coming as equals, as partners, as mates. Maya finished. The word felt right, felt true. That's what the bond makes us. Not just connected, mated. For life. For whatever existence we carve out of this mess. Yes. He breathed the word against her lips. For life. For forever. For however long we have. The kiss was inevitable. Gentle at first. Tentative. Like they were both afraid of breaking something fragile. Then deeper. Desperate. 3 weeks of tension and fear and unspoken need crashing together. Maya's hands fisted in his shirt. His wings spread wide. Silver and black enveloping them both in feathered sanctuary. Through the bond, sensation doubled. Tripled. She felt his desire and hers, feeding off each other, amplifying until it was impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. Felt his love, absolute and terrifying. Felt her own answering it, despite every reason it shouldn't exist. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, the cabin felt different. The air itself seemed changed, charged with possibility instead of dread. The wards won't hold much longer. Azrael's voice was rough. I can feel them weakening. Covenant enforcers are getting closer. We have maybe a week before they breach the protections. Then we run, Maya said simply. Find another safe house. Keep moving. Stay ahead of them. That's not living. That's existing. He echoed her earlier words. We'd be fugitives forever, always looking over our shoulders, never settling, never having anything beyond survival. So we make a stand. The idea formed as she spoke. Stop running. Face the Covenant directly. Challenge their authority. There have to be other Nephilim, other bonded pairs, other beings tired of following unjust laws. We find them, build alliance, show heaven and hell that we won't be eliminated quietly. Azrael stared at her. That's rebellion. Open war. That's living, Maya corrected, fighting for our right to exist, to love, to choose our own path. Natalie died choosing compassion over fear. We honor her by doing the same, by refusing to let the Covenant decide our fate. Slowly, impossibly, Azrael smiled. Real smile. Not the terrible one from before. This was hope. Fragile and new. You're either very brave or very stupid. Both, probably. Maya smiled back. But I'm done being afraid. Done hiding. Done letting grief and guilt control me. If we're going to be condemned, let's be condemned for living. For loving. For choosing each other every single day despite everything that says we shouldn't. Together. He pulled her close again. Whatever happens, we face it together. Together. Maya agreed. Outside, night was falling. The forest grew dark, and somewhere in the distance, celestial enforcers were closing in. But for the first time since Natalie's death, Maya Torres felt alive, really alive, not documenting life from safe distance, living it, messily, dangerously, completely. The bond hummed between them, No longer a curse, a choice. The hardest choice either had ever made. To love despite tragedy. To build despite destruction. To believe that grace was real and redemption possible. And that even from the ashes of murder, something beautiful could grow. It wouldn't be easy. The covenant would hunt them. Reality itself might tear them apart. But they'd face it together. Bonded. Mated. Choosing each other in defiance of every law that said they couldn't. And somewhere, Maya liked to think Natalie was smiling, proud of her sister, grateful to Azrael, knowing that her final act of forgiveness had saved them both. The future was uncertain, dangerous, probably short, but it was theirs, and that was enough. Some wounds never fully heal. Some losses carve holes in our souls that nothing can fill. Maya Torres learned this the hard way when her sister died, and learned it again when she discovered the truth behind that death. But here's what makes this story devastating and beautiful in equal measure. She chose to live anyway. Not despite the pain, but through it. She chose to see the humanity in a killer, to build love from the ashes of murder, to honor her sister's memory not by drowning in grief, but by embracing the impossible grace Natalie offered with her final breath. The question this story asks isn't whether forgiveness is deserved. It's whether we're brave enough to offer it when every logical reason says we shouldn't. Would you have made Maya's choice? Could you love someone who destroyed everything you held sacred? Could you look past the monster and see the broken soul underneath, fighting desperately to become something better? This is a story about the cost of survival and the courage it takes to choose connection over isolation, love over hate, hope over despair. Azrael and Maya didn't get a Yasi fairy tale ending. They got something harder, something real, a future they'll have to fight for every single day, built on the foundation of an unforgivable act and the radical decision to believe redemption is possible anyway. Natalie knew what she was doing when she forgave her killer and asked him to protect her sister. She was giving them both permission to be human, to fail, to hurt, to heal. And maybe that's the most profound gift one person can give another. The freedom to become more than the worst thing they've ever done. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something real, if it challenged the way you think about forgiveness and love and second chances, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear that grace is possible even in the darkest circumstances. Hit that like button if you believe love can grow from impossible soil. Subscribe if you want more stories that don't shy away from the complexity of being human. Because stories like this matter. They remind us that we're all capable of both tremendous destruction and tremendous healing. The question is, which one we choose. Thank you for spending this time with Maya, Azrael, and the ghost of Natalie's love. May we all have the courage to choose grace when vengeance would be easier.